Okay, let's mic check again. Hello, can you hear me? Hello, can you hear me? I am mic checking one more time. Phil, is the buzzing still going? Check, check, check. If the buzzing isn't too overwhelming, I think we should still go. That's because I stopped talking. Okay. Oh, you mean the buzzing cut out? I lowered it a little bit more. Can you still hear me clearly? I'm going to lower my gain a little bit more, and I need you to tell me if you can still hear me. Okay, I see your message that it is gone. Alright, if my voice is fine and all is good, then we can get started. Okay. Hello guys. This is Michael from the IELTS Grind. Welcome if you are popping in. We are going to first of all go over the Lexical Resource, or the vocabulary section of the essay we went over last time. We have that live stream up if you guys want to see the problems with the task achievement and coherence and cohesion. And we're just going to very quickly go over the changes that should have been made. I've given you guys a little bit of optional homework to see if you could find the mistakes and fix them yourselves. And so what we've got here is the edits that I would make to fix his vocab score. So in the contemporary era, there is a heated argument over the issue of whether the spread of international companies and globalization creates positive outcomes for every individual or not. If we did not fix this, this would be wrong. The grammatical structure is wrong, and the meaning doesn't make sense unless you add there's an argument over the issue of whether A or B. Okay? Next up, the rest are adverse to it. This is a collocation problem, not go adverse, but are adverse to it. And this should be to it as well. So, this is a very useful little thing over here, the suggestion button. To it. Okay. Next up, this is more grammar, but we're kind of doing both at the same time here. We should not say would highlight, but we should say will highlight. because it's happening. And finally, with apt examples, there should be more than one example. Okay. Next up, in body 1, to begin with the bright side, big companies are and industries are an essential part, one of many, so we should say an essential part. Firstly, they create jobs, you need the E there. Okay, and creates, you need the third person singular. Okay, globalization, they made this mistake a lot. Globalism is not the same as globalization. While it is important to use different words for saying the same thing, we should not, we've got to make sure that it means the same thing. If you're using a wrong word, that will hurt both your vocabulary score and your task achievement score. And then plays an important role in a country's economy. Okay. These were just some small typos that we fixed. Now, down here is something that I did want to point out. On the flip side of the coin, again, you need to make sure when you're learning these phrases that you learn them correctly. Originally, it was on the flip side of coin. That doesn't make sense. It's a small one. You can still get the idea, but this is more than just a typo. Okay. Down here we have, it's more of a grammar mistake, but one clear example is North Korea, which does not want any involvement. This is a relative clause. You've got to use it correctly. Down here, we talked about this last time, but I've typed it out just in case I was going a little bit too fast yesterday. They consume a large amount of natural resources, which leads to pollution, perfect, and a scarcity of resources. Much better, much higher level way of saying resources come to an end. Again, resources come to an end is an example of a 5. Someone who is not an English teacher would probably not be able to understand what that means. Okay, down here, they did use a lot of good vocabulary, and so we're going to be pointing that out. In the contemporary era, nice, high level, used correctly. There is a heated argument over the issue, perfect, high level. Now for the task achievement, so for vocabulary, this is great, high level, used correctly. Unfortunately, for task achievement, it's not really correct. There isn't a heated argument. This isn't correct. But for vocab, nice high level, okay? That the spread of multinational companies, this all in red is what we talked about just a minute ago. You need to say whether or not. You have an argument over the issue of whether A or B. Okay. A lion's share of society favors it. This is really nice, really high level. A lion's share of society, great collocation, very high level. This is an example of something you would expect in an 8. Okay. Go averse, we talked about that. Would, we talked about that. And with an apt example. Again, for task achievement, it's a little weird to only have one example, but for apt example is a really good collocation. To begin with the bright side, this is a good collocation, good high-level vocab used correctly for vocabulary. Now, we talked in the previous live stream about how this was not good for his task achievement because this is an opinion essay, so his topic sentence should be saying why he has his opinion. This is not the vocabulary you would want to use for an opinion essay. Now, with that being said, it still raises his vocabulary score because of the fact that he used this high-level stuff. So this is why sometimes you can have a low task achievement score, but a high vocabulary score. Okay. The essential part, this is, so an essential part would be better. Globalism play an important role. Again, if he didn't say globalism, if he said globalization plays an important role, this would be perfect. That's why it's in orange, because it's almost good. If he had said it correctly, it would have been great. Okay. And then help them in the battle against COVID. Again, this is really nice. Great collocation, high level vocabulary, but again, unfortunately, as we talked about in the previous video, this does not really support his argument. So low task achievement, great vocab. Assist small nations to grow, again, nice high level vocab, using it correctly. On the flip side of the coin, now this is orange because he was really close to getting it correct. The coin, not of coin, but also it doesn't help his task achievement because it's not about his opinion. Nasty consequences, great collocation. I highlighted it down here because this is a very good example of referencing. So however, sometimes it creates a lot of conflict. So it means globalization. If you are going to be writing an essay and you don't want to say the same thing again and again, yes, you can use synonyms, words with the same meaning. However, it's better to use referencing when you can. It's shorter and it lets you say more important details. Okay. One clear example, nice. Not want any involvement of other countries in their economical or technological matters. Great high-level grammar and vocab here, but again, so it's green for his vocab score, but again, it's not helping his task achievement. Okay. So, MNCs, any standard acronym is fine. So MNC is multinational company. So this is perfectly fine. Consume a large amount of natural resources. Again, great vocabulary here. Hammering the last nail. Now, I really wanted to point this out because this is an example where he completely fails in his vocabulary. Most of everything else is great, even with his idioms. However, here, hammering the last nail, this is part of a longer idiom, hammering the last nail in the coffin. We only use this phrase if it was, if you were saying a lot of things that were bad about something. So if he was against globalization completely, this would be great to use. Hammering the last nail, and then he says the final point that is negative. This is how we would use this. Hammering the last nail, globalization has led to more pollution. This would be correct. However, here, using it in his conclusion does not work. Really, what he should say is in conclusion. By the way, if you guys have any questions, Phil is sitting in the chat, and he will let me know if you guys have any. So, I personally feel that it is beneficial for countries to accept globalization. Great high-level vocab. This was great. Unfortunately, as we talked about in the previous live stream, again, you can check that out. His next point in his conclusion is not in line with his opinion. So guys, those were the good and the bad. Did you find the same ones? Did you fix it like we did up here? Again, you guys have complete access to this. You can view it by following the link in the description. But with that said, that is it for looking over yesterday's vocab. Today we are going to be looking at another task 2 by Ahil Jabbar. I apologize if I mispronounced that name. By the way, Phil, if you wanted, to just let him know that we're going over it, that would be great. And again, if you guys would like us to go over your essay and tell you exactly where you can improve and how you can change it, send us an email at corrections at theieltsgrind.com. Phil's gonna put that email in the chat real fast for you guys. We will look it over completely for free and in this live stream. Don't be shy, it's the best way to improve. Also, again, if you have any questions, don't hesitate to ask. But here is his original essay. Again, we have already shared it in the description of the video. Phil will throw that here in the chat real fast. And if I'm going to give you 1 or 2 minutes to very quickly read through it on your own. We can see that it is another opinion essay. You can tell because of here. Do you agree or disagree? And this is about children are more successful language learners. Because of this, it is better to learn languages in childhood. So, do you agree with this or do you disagree? Do you think children are better language learners? And do you think, if you agree with that, do you think that it is better to learn languages in childhood? This is what we need to write about. If there were more people in chat, so let's set a goal for 10 people. If there were 10 people in chat, we would stop at this point and work together to come up with some ideas on how we would plan this essay out. So if you would like to do that with us holding your hand and helping you out, bring your friends, tell them about our live stream. And the next time when we have 10 people during our live stream, we will plan an essay together with me or Phil and the rest of you contributing. Alright, so take some time to read through this. He has an intro, body 1 and body 2. I will warn you now that this is a little bit of a lower level essay. We want to show you guys a couple different options so that you can see what you're closest to. We will have live streams about higher level essays, lower level essays, and essays that are close to their target score. Okay, and scroll down for his body 2 and his conclusion. Okay, so now that I've given you guys some time to look through this essay, let's jump into where he is. Okay, so task response, quite low actually, 4 to 5, and this is mainly because some of his ideas are not directly connected to supporting his opinion here. Okay, so he did do some things well. So it is trouble-free to learn any foreign subject at a young age rather than being an adult. I agree with this statement. This right here, he has a clear thesis. It is his opinion and it is directly connected to the topic. This is great. So he says his position. I agree, and it's right here. However, there are some problems, and we will see this a lot, where his vocabulary is actually lowering his task achievement score. So we just talked about how you can sometimes still get a high vocab and grammar score even though your task achievement is low. This is an example of if your vocabulary and grammar is too low, it can hurt your task achievement score. So, any foreign subject. This is not a synonym for foreign language. Alright? This does not have exactly the same meaning, and so this essay is about something else, which lowers your task achievement score. Secondly, we will see this a lot. His punctuation errors are really hurting his task achievement score. Because of where he has his periods and how he separates his clauses that way, it makes it harder to understand and it lowers his task achievement. If I can't understand the idea that you're trying to say, then even if you have good ideas, you won't have a good task achievement score. This is why we always recommend to our students that they read for fun, just to work on their vocabulary and their grammar. 20 minutes every day if you can. So, next up, his body 1. Firstly, I believe at a young age we can learn anything. Again, this is the same problem as before. This is not about whether young people can learn everything. This is about whether it is better to learn languages in childhood. Okay? He is not directly addressing the topic, and so this is lowering his task achievement. The power of grasping will be superior at this age. So, power of grasping, I don't know what that means. I'm an English teacher, so I have a superpower. Me and Phil, we can understand really bad English because we work with language learners all the time. So I can guess his meaning here, but the IELTS exam is not about whether an English teacher can understand it. It's about whether or not a random person on the street in America or the UK can understand it. So the power of grasping doesn't make sense. Because it doesn't make sense, I can't understand this detail, so it keeps his task achievement quite low. Okay. Because the child don't know any languages, it's like an empty mind. So again, is this clause connected to the previous sentence or the next sentence? Because of his problems with punctuation, it's very hard to tell, and because we can't understand what he's trying to say, we can't give him a high score for task achievement. Because the child doesn't know anything about languages, it's like an empty mind. We can fill it with anything. Again, with anything, this is not about language learning, and so it is lowering his task achievement. Once you grow up, your mind will be settled with language you learned in childhood. So this is his first point, where if the grammar and vocab had been better, this would have been a great point to talk about. When you're grown up, it's hard to learn language. This would make sense. It's not a great detail, but it's on topic. That's why it's green here. It is little difficult to learn. Okay, this is a grammar vocab problem. It is little difficult is different from it is a little difficult. They have very different meanings. So it's a little difficult to learn a language. That means it's difficult to learn a language. If you say it is little difficult to do something, that means it's not very difficult. So you need an there. Okay. Because it changes the meaning of his vocabulary, it makes it opposite to his points, keeps his task achievement low. When we are, it is little difficult to learn when we are adult. He needs to add a CC word here. This is another thing that we are talking about. Because of his punctuation problems and because of his lack of CC words, he needs to add more words that connect his ideas between sentences and in sentences. He probably wanted to say it is a little difficult to learn when we are adults, as we need to start from the basics. Because he doesn't have as there, his meaning isn't clear and lowers task achievement and CC. Secondly, we can take the example of our Honorable Prime Minister, Narendra Modi. This is a bad topic sentence. This is a bad topic sentence because it isn't directly connected to his thesis. He needs to add more words here. He needs to say, the second reason why I believe that it is better to learn languages as a child is because of this person. He needed to add these words. Just saying the sentence as it is, there's not enough explanation to connect it to his thesis. Now, of course, I know what he's saying, but that's because I'm an English teacher. I've worked with people who are using a second language for a long time. He is Prime Minister of India, but he could not speak any foreign language. Again, this period right here, it breaks the flow and it messes up what he's trying to say. We've talked about his punctuation before. This is just to notice it. Down here, why? Because he grown up in Indian culture. Again, he has grown up in Indian culture. He also needs to add a question mark here. We will look at how we can fix these things very soon. Okay. Again, punctuation problem. In conclusion, the childhood is very innocent time. Again, this is hurting his task achievement because it is not about childhood being an innocent time. It is about whether or not childhood is the better time to learn a language. Okay. Now, his ideas actually in his body 1 and body 2 could have been okay if he stayed on topic. Again, if we manage to get 10 people in chat, we will do a brainstorming where we can come up with ideas together on how we could write this essay. I think you guys would probably find that very helpful, but again, we need to reach 10 people in chat before we can do that. So, tell your friends. Alright guys, next up, that they can face problems when they become an adult. We need a good foundation at that age so that we can face problems when they become an adult. Again, the vocab here is actually good, but the meaning of the sentence does not connect to the topic, learning languages. So again, because of all of this, his task achievement is quite low, 4 to 5, leaning towards 4 right now, actually. Again, it's all because of the fact that he wasn't on topic. If he had been more on topic, would have been closer to a 5. Alright, it's the problem with punctuation and connecting ideas. Okay. Because not much can be understood, it is hard to get a high task achievement score. Sorry, this should be task response. Task achievement is for task 1. This shows how the different grading criteria are linked. If you cannot have good enough CC, cohesion and coherence, if you do not have a good enough vocabulary or good enough grammar to express your ideas, it will hurt your task achievement and the other components. They are all linked, especially at the lower level. Okay. A lot of his points are not connected to language learning. This is the big thing. And so it hurts his task response score. Okay. Next up, we are going to look at how we could fix his cohesion and coherence by adding words here and there that would really bring him from a 4 to a 5. Okay. It is trouble-free to learn any foreign subject. We talked about this already. He needs to be on point. But get rid of the period, lowercase r. Make it a clause as part of the sentence. Also down here, referencing, even though it's counted under LR, Lexical Resource, or vocabulary, it is also connected to cohesion and coherence. Can you connect your ideas? This statement. This statement means this statement here. Again, get rid of the period and add B. Okay. We can fill. It's like an empty mind we can fill. So this is that we can fill with anything. And once you are grown up, your mind will be settled with the language you learned in childhood. Again, it's really important to be adding these words to connect your ideas together. English is a low context language. That means you need to say it. If you don't say it, the listener or the reader does not understand your meaning. This is as opposed to, for example, Chinese. In Chinese, when it is the listener's job to understand what the speaker is trying to say. It is a high context language. A high context language. I like to tell my students this really easy thing to help them remember. Okay. When you are writing or when you are speaking, you need to remember that English readers and English listeners are stupid. If you can remember one thing from this live stream, remember this. English readers and English listeners are stupid. If you do not say something, then they do not see the connection. If you do not say the connection, they will not see it. you need to always say the connection clearly with CC words. Okay. By the way, if you guys have any questions at all, don't be afraid to let us know in chat. Phil will be able to talk to you, and I will also be able to stop and answer any questions. By the way, we are halfway to those 10 viewers, so if you know anyone else who is studying for the IELTS exam and is struggling with writing, let them know that we are doing this live stream. Hopefully they'll jump on, and once we get to 10 people, we can learn how to plan for one of these. But anyway, let's continue. He is Prime Minister of India, but he could not speak a foreign language. Get rid of the period, lowercase b. Why? This is actually a pretty high level thing to be doing, where you ask yourself a question and then you answer it. But because he didn't have the punctuation, it was just bad grammar. Oh, so close. So looking at this person's essay, I can tell that their vocabulary is actually not that low. It may be a little bit below where they want, if they want like a 6.5, but because of all of these mistakes connecting their ideas, though they have some okay vocabulary, it's their inability to connect their ideas, their problems connecting ideas, throws away that advantage. Okay. So, as previously mentioned, he had a lot of problem connecting ideas. This was mostly with a lack of correct CC words. CC is cohesion and coherence, and wrong punctuation. The next thing that I wanted to point out is that the structure of his paragraph was not correct. Okay. The way that we structure paragraphs in English is we have a topic sentence, and then we have supporting details under that. The way that he had his second paragraph be about an example, especially because he started with the example of our Honorable Prime Minister, it makes it feel like this is him talking about the topic, and then this is an example of it. What he really needs to change is he needs to say, the first thing I believe, the first reason why it is better to learn a language when you're young is because when we're young, it's the best time to learn. The second reason why I believe it's better to learn languages when you're young is because there are some examples of adults who struggle with learning languages. That would be his topic sentence for body 1 and his topic sentence for body 2. Then, in that paragraph, he would be able to have these details. Okay. So remember, you should always have a clear topic sentence followed by your supporting details. Do not break up your examples and your big ideas into 2 paragraphs. The paragraph should all be about one idea. One paragraph is one idea. Sorry guys. One paragraph equal to one idea. Alright, keep it to that. Also, your topic sentence should always say what the idea is, and then you give details in that paragraph. Okay. So body 2 was the main problem here. It looked like he was giving an example of the previous paragraph, which should not have been the case. Finally, we have Lexical Resource. I've just highlighted some of the main ones here. I did a little bit of both vocab and grammar in this one, just to save time. But, just to point them out, it is trouble-free to learn any language. This would actually be... This isn't quite what we would say. Trouble-free is not the right word here. It is easy. It is not as difficult to learn a foreign language at a young age. We already talked about this one. Foreign subject isn't great because it doesn't mean foreign language. A foreign subject could be like the history of America or the history of Peru. So foreign language. Next, the referencing down here in green. This will raise his score a little bit because he had correct referencing. The power of grasping, again, he was trying to use it. Now, the difference between a 5 and a 6, a 5 means, a 6 means that you make mistakes, but you can still be understood. This is a mistake where I can't understand his meaning easily, and so it would drop him to a 5 or lower. Okay, if you really couldn't understand it. Okay, will be settled. This is him trying to use high-level grammar. Unfortunately, so passive voice will be settled. He forgot the D, and so it is wrong. It's good that he's trying to use high-level grammar here, but you've got to make sure that you use it correctly to get the high score. Okay, we already talked about this one. There's a difference between it is little difficult and it is a little difficult. Okay. So, mostly low-level vocabulary. While many of his ideas can be understood, it is not without difficulty. This is the main thing here. Okay. Some of his mistakes make him say the wrong idea. Again, we talked about that above. We can see Lexical Resource was a 5. Okay. He's actually close to a 6. I'm not gonna lie, he's close to a 6. But because of those mistakes, especially the second one, it keeps him down below. Okay. Finally, his grammatical range and accuracy, 4 to 5. This was mostly because, even though he did attempt to use high-level grammar, passive voice, his punctuation errors, all of those periods in the wrong places, that was what kept him down the most. Okay. He did have numerous other errors, and the number of errors does also affect your score. If you use high-level stuff correctly, but you still have too many errors in your essay, that will keep you low. Alright guys, so again, you guys have the ability to look at this yourself. We do have it shared. It is open for sharing. Anyone on the internet with a link, and the link is in the description, can view this. Phil also has it in the chat if you guys want to just copy and paste from there. We are going to move down to the model essay, and if you are lower level, I do apologize. This is quite high level, just to show you what high level looks like. If you guys, this has a lot of high level vocabulary and grammar. If you guys would rather see a high level essay that has more graded, easier to understand grammar and vocabulary, please let us know in the chat, and we will provide that next time. This is an example of a very high level essay, model essay, but again, if you guys want to see more middle level essays that have good task achievement and cohesion and coherence, just let us know in the chat, and that will be something we work on for next time. Alright, so I will leave it up here, and if you guys want to take a minute to read through it, and then we will talk through it as well. Again, the link is in the description. It is the second one listed. Okay, and body 1. And then body 2. Again, feel free to just jump in. We can see if you've joined over here. And the conclusion at the bottom. Okay, so let's look at why this is a good essay. It has often been said that the best time for someone to learn a new language is childhood. It is argued that because of this, it is better to learn during that time. That time is very good referencing. I personally believe that it is actually better, this is a good CC word, for people to learn as adults. Alright, the last sentence is my thesis, and I clearly state my opinion. And again, more referencing. You guys will see that there is a lot of referencing in this essay. Okay. The first reason why I believe it is better to learn a new language as an adult is that it will be the adult's choice, and as such, this is a nice high-level CC word, as such they will be better motivated. So that means in this essay, I need to talk about how it makes them better motivated, and how it's the adult's choice. Okay. If you learn a language as a kid, it is either because it's what your parents want or your circumstances. In the case of the latter, this is again referencing green. In the case of the latter means your circumstances. Okay. There's nothing wrong with growing up in a bilingual household. Nice high level vocabulary, good collocation. Okay. But, and this is important, many students learn to hate languages they are forced to learn in school. So this is my main point here. If students learn a language because it's what your parents want, they will learn to hate it. I believe that these people is referencing for those students, okay, would have learned the language better and enjoyed doing so. Doing so again is referencing. Doing so means learning the language. If this, so much referencing, wasn't the case. This means being forced to learn it because of your parents. Adults don't have this problem, as, again, this is a good CC word, connecting my ideas. If they are learning a language, it is because they want to. And this sentence is very important because this is my main idea here. These, again, this is a higher level essay, but these are setting up for this. Okay, this is my main point. We will make it orange. No, orange means bad. We'll make it blue. Okay. So this is why it's better for adults. This is tied to, thus it is better to learn languages. Okay. It's very important that I have this sentence. Many students, they stop here. But you need to always have a sentence that connects it to the main idea of the prompt. Okay? It's better for adults. While it may be more difficult for them is referencing, and it means adults. Okay? I believe this will make them more likely to succeed as they are able to push through their difficulties with it. Their difficulties means adults. It means the language. Okay. So, I hope you guys can see that this is all tied to my topic sentence. It's talking about why adults are better. It's because the students who are forced to learn in school hate learning the language. So, and it's also saying how they are better motivated. They're able to push through learning the language, better motivated. Okay. Oh, hello, Raghav. Welcome. You are 6 out of 10. If we can get to 10 people, we will be looking at how to plan an essay like this, but only if we get up to 10 people. So, we are closer. All right. Final section, body 2. The second reason why I believe it is better to learn a language as an adult is that new research shows that adults are superior to children at learning languages in some areas. So I'm not saying they are always better. I'm saying that there are some areas where they're better. But this is still a reason for why I believe it is better to learn a language as an adult. Again, this is an example of what I was talking about before. If you do not say it, the connection is not made. We need to have all of these words in the topic sentence in order to show those connections. Okay. Well, children are like sponges and are better able to master the new sounds of a language. Adults have learning strategies that they have mastered that make them much better learners. Again, I'm always talking about why it is better. With these strategies, they are able to learn more efficiently with less repetition. This is a great example of a direct supporting detail. With these strategies is directly connected to why they are better learners. So I said they're better learners, I'm saying how or why. This is something that a lot of students miss. They're not supporting their details directly. Okay. Children require a huge amount of this. This means repetition. Okay. One other aspect of language learning children excel in is that they are unafraid of making mistakes. So again, this is something that children are superior in. I believe that with the right tutelage, this is a very high level word that just means teaching. Okay. This can be easily overcome by adults too. So this is an example of a concession. I'm saying that children are really good at this. But the only reason why I said children are good at this is so I can tell them that adults can also do it. You need to make sure that your examples and your supporting details are always in line with your thesis. Okay? Don't say why children are good at it if it's not something that adults can do as well, if this is your thesis. Okay? Your supporting details always need to directly connect to it. Okay. Thanks for the advice, by the way, in the chat. We will do that next time. So, these are just a few examples of how small of a difference there is in language learning ability between the two groups. So basically, the main idea here is that children are not much better, and adults are better in some areas. So in conclusion, it is clear that while children do have a few advantages when it comes to language learning, so do adults. This is directly connected to body 2. When we take motivation and new research into account, this is me summarizing both. Motivation is body 1, new research is body 2. I firmly believe that language learning is better done as an adult. And then I said my thesis again. Remember, when you guys are doing a conclusion, you always rephrase your thesis plus topic sentence 1 and 2. Okay? This is always what your conclusion is. It's very easy. It should not be too long. You guys can see most of my words are in body 1 and body 2, with my intro being very small and my conclusion also being very small. Alright guys. So, thank you so much for joining us. This brings us to the end of this live stream. Remember guys, if you would like us to go over your essays, don't be shy. It is completely free. You just have to email us your essay at corrections@IELTSGrind.com, and we will do that for you. Make sure you also include the prompt. That's very important. And we do prefer if it is already typed. If you write it on paper because you're practicing for the paper exam, awesome. but it would definitely save us a lot of time if you type it up yourself before you send it off to us. All right. Now, before we leave, do you guys have any questions for me or for Phil? Good question, Ragav. You do need to always briefly, you don't necessarily need a hook. So a hook in essay writing is something to get someone interested in what you're going to talk about. The examiner has to read your essay, so you don't need a hook. You don't need to persuade them to read it. However, you do need background information. Really, if you just rephrase the prompt, you will be okay. But in task 1, you always need to rephrase it as closely as you can. In task 2, you have a little bit more freedom in what you write. We can see here, it has often been said that the best time to learn a language is in childhood. This is just rephrasing what was here. You don't need to be too fancy. Okay. So you do need to introduce the topic, but I recommend you try to do it in 1 to 2 sentences. Your intro should not be too long. Great question. Any more? And I apologize for any pauses. There is a little bit of a delay between what I say and what you see. One last thing while you guys are here. Your thesis for an opinion essay is your opinion. With other essays, every other type of essay, advantage, disadvantage, problem, solution, 2 sides plus opinion, you will use a different thesis. But if you have an opinion essay, you need your opinion in your thesis, but only in opinion essays. So, if you're aiming for a band 8 or 9, you will naturally write that many words. I'm not going to lie, when I was writing this model essay, it's very hard for me to only write 250 words. This essay, the model essay right here, is 380, and I wrote this in maybe 10 minutes. The thing you need to realize is that people who are band score 8 and 9 are quite high level. To get a band score 9, it means that you are indistinguishable from a native speaker. It means you are just like a native speaker. And native speakers, they will easily write this much very quickly, very easily. You only need 250 words. That's 100% true. But if you are an 8 or a 9, you probably are going to write more just because it's easier for you to write more, to say what you're trying to say. Yeah, as long as you have 250 words, you're fine. But native speakers will often write more because it's hard to only write 250 words on a topic. These are some great questions, by the way. Right now, you are my favorite student in the chat. All right, we'll take one more question if there are any. And we have a surprise for you tomorrow. I believe, Phil, let me confirm with you right here in chat that you will be doing some speaking stuff. So that is a difficult question to ask because examiners are never able to reveal in a public setting who they are. So I can't answer your question. And if anyone is going around saying that they are, they probably aren't. But I would recommend you not ask that question to people. Yes. So, as I was saying, Phil, please confirm, are you going to be doing speaking stuff? Yes. All right, awesome. Well, tomorrow at 7, you guys will get a live stream on reviewing some speaking material. So I hope that you guys join us. Phil will also be doing Thursday. I don't know if it will be speaking or writing. But I will be back on Friday. Tell your friends if you have friends who are studying for the IELTS exam. We want to help as many people as possible. And I look forward to seeing you guys in the future. I will be in the chat tomorrow, by the way, so you won't have to miss me too much. Alright guys, thank you so much for stopping in, and good luck with your studies. Remember, try to read some fun English books 20 minutes every day. And if you have other questions, we have quite a big catalog of videos that you guys can look through. We have over 200 videos, so hopefully we can answer some questions if you have any there as well. Alright, see you guys